We live?
I believe we are. So
yeah, we are. I can see in the phone.
cool. Hi, everyone. This is Sharon Henderson and Andy Griffith, and we are streaming to you today live from some new software that we've both been having a play with. So hopefully it's all working as it should, and I'm hoping. I see some eyes here, but I don't see any chat. So if you're watching, please do send us a message to say hi so we can see that you are here.
Giving a thumbs up to the people already tuning in.
I see 3 people, but I don't know who they are. So I am hoping that we are going to see you soon. Let's have a look. Live comments. So hopefully we will see some people soon, and I will just start talking. Oh, I see Paul here. Hi, Paul. Welcome. Nice to have you along. So I am going to introduce you to Andy Griffith, who is one of our KEM WordPress community members, and also has his own very cool group that he will be able to introduce for you. Would you like to tell us the name, Andy?
Yeah. The group is Funnel Growth Club, and it's really just designed to help you grow online sales funnels. No matter what type of business you're in, just giving you tools and tactics to help you be more successful online, whether it's products or services. I mean, just to get over the technobabble of it all and just how to do things in methodical steps.
Sounds awesome. And Andy's going to tell us more about funnels in a moment, but I just want to introduce Andy. So Andy is from Oklahoma. He is a trained and very experienced chef.
Yep.
And moved his way up through the hospitality industry. I believe you were a general manager, is that right, as well?
Yeah. Started as a kitchen help. Yeah, started as a kitchen help, worked my way up. I was a hibachi chef where they like cook in front of you and light stuff on fire. I mean, who doesn't want to get paid to do that?
Just awesome.
Eventually did sushi, moved into management, and then now currently work as a hospitality business advisor, and just also helping people not just run their food service programs, but what type of marketing to help them improve their businesses, and then just applying that into the digital landscape.
Pretty awesome stuff. And also, Andy is a successful author. Do you want to share the book that you've written?
I don't have it with me. I should have it. I know.
The One Funnel Away Challenge, but you don't have your own book there.
I know. Well, I'm not promoting my book, right? What I did do is write a book. I don't know if any of y'all have ever gotten, it's always backwards on cameras, right? Expert Secrets is, when I read that book, it inspired me to document what I knew about. I'd worked at that time 16 years in hospitality, so I wrote a book called Shift Secrets, right? Kind of going on to the secrets thing, but shifts in restaurants, you have shifts. So this is Shift Secrets, and it was 10 proven hospitality growth tactics to make your business more profitable and successful. And so I made a very actionable step-by-step 10 areas. If you do this, you're geared to have success. And so I wrote a book like that and built an online funnel and created some other tools and stuff as we probably dive a little deeper into what funnels do, that you can quote upsell and things like that, but had an add-on value features that are, the book was just part of what you could offer your customer base.
Awesome. Very, very cool. And as you probably also gathered, Andy is a funnel builder. That's how he made his book a success. And also a trainer. So Andy teaches funnel building and everything that goes into that. So today, Andy is going to take the helm and talk to us about email marketing opt-in sequences and the Seinfeld sequences as part of that as well. So I will hand over to Andy. And I will listen with interest.
Awesome. Well, talking about email marketing sequences, essentially what you want to do is, you can think email marketing can be approached with like, oh, this is huge thing. But what I always like to try to do is make things very simple, right? I mean, simple is easy to do, right? It's very actionable. Whenever you see, like, instead of seeing the big mountain, let's just start on the trail and we'll get to the top, right? Or you don't have to see, being in Oklahoma, I don't have to see all the way to California to get there. I just need to see about 200 feet and keep driving that way, right? So this is where, with email marketing, there's two main lists that you want to start with. And we're going to there's 3 total, but the 2 combine into one later. And so we'll start with, first off, is you have an opt-in list, right? Your opt-in is usually some sort of thing you're giving away for free, whether it's some sort of guide, video series, a course, a PDF. What is it that you can, quote, give away for free? Or you may even have some sort of a free plus shipping model, where it's just covering your cost to actually ship them something physical. You like if you buy these books, those are free plus shipping. But essentially, your opt-in list is something geared towards a target market. You've got to figure out what it is that they want that they're going to make a trade. And that trade is confidence in whatever it is you're giving them to get an email address. Some people ask for like a name, email address, and phone number, but I've found that the more you ask for, the lower your conversions are, versus if I can just get an email address and send it to you, later on I may learn your name, but it's very low entry. A little gold nugget on that is I'll actually on my lead page, and if I'm speaking technobabble, essentially it's a page that they go to get your free thing, right? Like here's this free book or free PDF on the 5 ways to lose weight or whatever your niche. Instead of me having where they opt in for their email address, I like to do a little click pop where it's just a button to say, give it to me. And so they click on it and a pop-up happens. And what you've actually done is made a psychological micro commitment. They've now already started to move towards you without actually seeing I have to put anything in. There's like, okay, cool. And then it pops up, hey, get this thing. And so you're kind of in a psychological way guiding them to starting to integrate and work with you. And so once they give your email to you, I also am not a big fan of letting someone go to a landing page to get the free thing, because if they want to put in a fake email address, they don't get anything. Because if you just have it where they give you an email and make the trade and you have it as a download on the next page, they could type in whatever they want and you've not really gotten any value from them. They've actually got all your value and you got zero from them. So that's kind of a gold nugget is when you do your opt-ins, deliver your free thing by email to them. Yeah, no, I always have like a thank you page to say like, hey, thanks for joining or thanks for opting in. That's coming to you right away. But that way they have to give you a real email address because you want to start having a conversation, right?
So Andy, how does that work with ClickFunnels? Because is there a way of sending them an email and them having to confirm in order to access the item? Because from my memory, most of it's in a members area. Mm-hmm. So that you give them the link to the members area. Is that mechanism built into ClickFunnels?
Yeah, that's a great question. How I like to deliver it is you can do G Suite or Google Drive. You get like, I think 15 gig for free, but you can have your file in there and then you can create a download link that you share. You can get a share link, but if you look online, there's a way to make it into I call it a forced download, where if they click the link in your email, it just automatically pops up to download your file. And so you're actually storing the file outside of ClickFunnels, and it's, you can create a free Gmail account and put it in there in your Google Docs or Google Drive. And then you pull that share link out and turn it into a download link. And so when they click on it, it just asks them where they want to download it. And so that's the way that I'm delivering it. When we start talking about email marketing, ClickFunnels has some built-in, if you use Actionetics, that's a built-in quote unquote email marketing and other platforms. But you've also got the MailChimps, the Constant Contacts, Aweber, Active. There's a lot of almost like a buffet of providers to use your email marketing on. That's how I'm delivering it. Is it's literally in a Google Doc that's a clickable download link inside an email I send.
Yeah, it's a long time since I built my funnels. I'm just trying to remember what mechanism I used, but it's starting to come back to me that was possible, that you can deliver it that way. Yeah, I'll have to have another play and remind myself how that goes. It's really good information, definitely. The fake email thing is not something I'd really thought of. So that's really cool. Last thing you want is to be giving away your valuable things for nothing, effectively.
Yeah, it's like fake@notreal.com and they get your free stuff. Man, and they're on your list now, and you're like,
have you had any of those? Is that what prompted you to go down this road?
I haven't had a lot of them. I just try to think through of like, we're trying to build trust with each other. Yeah. And I want to trust you to give me a real email. And so you should trust me to give you something of value. And so that's where it's like, give me a real email and you're going to get it. I also like to put like a thank you video on that page. Like, hey, thanks for getting your free thing. It's coming in. So I'm starting to because essentially you're wanting people to know, like, and trust you. That's who we all do business with. If you're missing one of those, it's hard to do business with anybody. You know, someone may have the best product in the world, but if you don't like them, you might just not really go for it, right? I mean,
which is touching on what we were talking about before we went live, Andy, which was is the importance of building your brand, which more often than not in the internet marketing world is yourself, and building that trust and that credibility. That means that people are willing to go that extra step and trust that what you're going to deliver them is going to be of value. So building that reputation is so important.
Always play the long game, and a lot of that principle probably comes out of, can relate to like hospitality. You know, someone fundamentally, you know, I'm serving a dish, they don't like the dish, I can refund it, I can remake it, I can give them credit to come back again, and I can do all three of those things. But really in any business, whatever you're selling, if they're not satisfied with it, first off, the fact that they tell you that they're not satisfied, that is a golden moment for you to turn them into a fan. It's not a negative thing, because how you handle complaints can make you like the go-to, like, oh my God, that was so professional, they took care of me, I'm going to go there again and tell my friends about it. Like, wow. Because so yeah, when you talk about building a brand, always think long vision. You may lose a dish today, but you can sell 5 more over the course of a year.
Exactly. So, very, very wise advice, Andy. I have a couple of comments here. We were actually talking before we went live. The software that we're using is supposed to pull all chats into the one place, but it hasn't, because I've checked on my phone and I have some extra points there, but I'll just deal with the ones I can see on our software. Paul Doust has said hello. Angel has said hello. Paul has said, did you say option list? Didn't know that. I do that on my website.
Opt-in, not option. Opt-in list.
Yes. I wasn't sure what he was referring to. The thing is that when you pick up the messages, sometimes it can be out of context. So thank you for that. Yes, opt-in list. Yes. So do you want to clarify for them, Andy, what an opt-in list is?
Sure. And I'll actually break down what I would do as like an opt-in list series to just kind of give them a high level of, because essentially when someone gets something free, they maybe don't even know you, right? Like they just saw something that was a need that they're interested in that you have to offer, right? Even though this might be free, you are making an offer. And so they don't even really know you. So when someone like opts in, right, or they give you their email, you're making a transaction, here's this cool free thing I put. And a lot of times the thing you think, a lot of people may have a hard time with this, the thing you think you should charge for is often what you want to give away.
Yes.
Because
you're like, oh, a hard one to come to terms with quite often.
I'm telling you what, that's the thing that you want to give away, because they're like, oh my God, this is amazing. This guy gave this for free. And then what he's selling, what's that going to do? But the phases of an opt-in list is you're almost going to indoctrinate them into who you are and what you're about. It's not just like, here's that free thing. Thanks. I hope you come back. Okay. Instead, you send them, immediately they get sent some sort of like welcome, thank you type, like, hey, thanks for getting, subscribing to get this thing. And I appreciate you taking the time to be here. And I'm so excited for what this is going to do for you, because I know based on past experience, either if you don't have case studies, what has it done for you? You are the case study. Or is it something that's similar that's out in the market that people have had results doing something? You can always use someone else's story to talk about what it is your thing provides. And so you're just thanking them for it and talking about how to use it, maybe giving them a little bit of instruction, like here's where you go to download. If you have any problems or anything, here's my contact to get to me. Giving them just ways to start the communication. Okay. Yeah. Now, the next thing is the next day you want to send them another email. But if you've got whether you've got a funnel or depending what you're selling, there's one thing I like to do is depending how you have your email list set up. This is my fun little cheat thing. I'm revealing gold. Is I have it set up. If they don't make a purchase within like 2 to 3 hours, I send them a little thing, because my thank you page is a sales page. Here's my free thing. And then I go, thank you, da 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 da. But while you're here and you wait, check out this cool thing. And that my thank you page is kind of a sales page. If they don't buy it, I've got it set up where 2 to 3 hours later, I'm sending them is everything okay? Did I do something wrong? Did my website mess up? I saw you were there, but it didn't look like you took action on the thing. I just want to make sure it wasn't something I did. And so you're kind of, because they might have had interest, but they got the free thing and then they get distracted, and then life happens. They get a phone call from a boss, and next thing you know, they've forgotten. And so I like to send, I call it like the 1.5 email, like the number 1 email, thank you. The 0.5 is 2 to 3 hours later. Is everything all right? You know, and put a link back to your like sales page.
Yeah. You can set that up with Actionetics or MailChimp. MailChimp has that whole sequence that you can set up where if they open the email, then you go to another sequence. If they don't open the email, then you can send them that chasing email. Have you forgotten?
Yeah, is everything okay? Yeah.
And that's free as well, unless you're sending out massive volumes. And MailChimp is free, and there are other ones out there that have free plans. So it's available to anybody. And
a lot give you like 30 days free, so you can get started and actually like use it. So I mean, there's a lot of, because they want to do business with you. Here's this free service for 30 days.
Absolutely. There it goes again. Everyone's doing it.
Free. You'll start getting emails from them. Hey, did you know how to do this? Here's this webinar, how to start your first campaign. They're teaching you. So kind of with that is the second day email. What I say is my opt-in sequence is I'm teaching them. I start off with some sort of like case study or high drama that kind of gives them an example of why they need to use what it is you gave away for free, right? It makes them like, because I've opted into things and never read some of the stuff that I got because I'm like, oh, this is cool. I'll look at it later. And then I don't.
Yeah.
That later gets later and later.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So you can send this like, hey, by the way, Sally, when she used for the information I just sent you, when she applied it, and within the next 2 weeks, these are the results she got. So you send some sort of like case study or high drama on the second day to just kind of educate them what it is that they got from you for free. What's the value? And what you're also doing in a subtle tone is you're establishing like, look, I give value. Yeah. I wouldn't say like, hey, I'm giving you value, but you're commenting and showing results with what it is they got that shows like, I'm a person that's giving value out there, that's helping people. And so it's like, oh, wow, cool. Okay. Then the third day I send some sort of origin story or like an epiphany bridge type thing. And if you're sitting there going, what is an origin story or epiphany bridge? What was it in your life that caused you to create the thing you did? Like, what were you going through that said, I need this, so I made this, or that made you go, the market needs this, I'm going to be the one that creates this? Because usually we have a backstory that led us to doing what we do. And so you send them an email that lets them know about you, right? Because you're sharing who you are. Now you just went past, thanks, here's your free thing, it's cool. Did I do something wrong if they didn't buy? And like, here's some case studies and what it's done for them. I can't wait to hear what your results are. And now you're like, oh, by the way, if you didn't know, this is why I'm doing this. This is why. And so now you're starting to relate and connect. You're a person, or as we were talking, you're a brand. You're becoming a connection to them and not just a commodity product. Yeah. And so that's kind of my third day email. Then the fourth day is you're going to re-echo again what it is they got from you. What's maybe some sort of like a fast win, a speed hack, or some sort of effort hack of, because depending, you may be getting like a 10-page thing. It could be a 1-page document. What is like 1 or 2 cool things that like, if they were only going to do one thing out of it, this is that thing, right? And you're, again, establishing the value of what you're giving them. Okay. And as you establish value, if we've all done business with someone that's helped us, the more value we've gotten out of it, the more we've trusted the person. Right. And so as we start to present other things, you're like, well, shoot, they've done nothing but help me. I would love to do business with you. Yeah. So then the fifth day, and I only really do about a 5, you may go up to 7. You don't want to go, I don't really go past that many in an opt-in, because we're still talking about opt-ins. Is the 5th day is, let me tie back. In the bottom of each of the emails, I usually have some sort of CTA, which is a call to action. So we're talking about the subject of what the emails are. And then at the bottom, it's like, oh, and by the way, make sure you don't, make sure that if you haven't taken action yet, I still have this thing. There's always a little bit telling them to go back to buy whatever it is you're selling, because you made a trade for something free, delivering value on it, tell them about you. But always in the bottom, like, oh, and by the way, this one other thing I have right now is still available at this. I hope it's usually this price, but right now it's that. So you always have these little CTAs or call to actions. That's some techno babble for you guys. You're wanting them to move towards something.
So much quicker.
Do what?
CTA is a much quicker way of saying.
Yeah. I've had those in each little one, and it's not a whole bunch of the email. That's just like the smallest right before the end of it, because the email is more about the content. And it's like, oh, and by the way, just a reminder, because on average, it takes someone 7 times to make a purchase from you. They need to see you 7 times, or see your ad, or see your product before they go, oh, okay. Most people don't buy until they've, and as we talk about this, think about it in your life. You usually didn't, most times you don't buy something the first time. You see it, and then you're like, all right.
Yep.
But the last email, day 5 to day 7, is just like, hey, last chance. I just wanted to, because you don't want to keep on like pestering per se, but hey, last chance, this one thing that I have going on, it's not going to be available forever. I hope that you've gotten a ton of value at what I've been giving as we've been going on this journey, and you've learned a little bit about me. I just want to make sure that if you had any questions, or if you didn't really understand, here is, and this one's more about the offer. Here is all the stuff you're going to get for right now if you act today, or whatever your window. Don't put fake urgency. Don't be fake. if your sale is always on sale, they check you a month later. It's like
we have here in New Zealand, we have a store called Godfrey's that sells vacuum cleaners.
Okay.
And I always joke about it, because whenever we go past, they've got a sale, and it's always it's always the biggest sale. And the thing is, everything is always on sale, and it kind of loses its value, and it becomes a bit of a joke.
Right.
and that doesn't really give you that feeling of credibility and authenticity and integrity, which is super important. So yeah, I totally agree with you that be ethical, be honest, because you will get found out.
Oh yeah. I mean, because they may be shopping you to keep watching, and so some of you might be thinking, well, I don't know what my offer could be. Your offer could be like, or your limited time. If you act now, I'm going to have a one-on-one like phone call with you, or interview with you, or I'll get on a live Facebook chat to help you, or some of the other things you may sell, depending if you have different products. For right now, if you act, you're also getting this, and then maybe a week later, it's going to change to something else.
Yeah.
I mean, so there's always, be creative in thinking on what you can offer on top of what you're doing to make it a real credible, like, hey, if you act now, or for the next 3 days, this is what I have, and then change it. And maybe your prices go up for 2 weeks. And if you're stuck on one thing, raise your price for 2 weeks and then bring it back down, maybe to a different amount. But be ethical, because we talk about your brand. Be ethical in what you're doing.
What are your thoughts on offer stacks? Because in the One Funnel Away challenge that both Andy and I have done, the offer stack is definitely something. There you go. If anyone's interested, I can share the link with you after this Facebook Live if you are interested in doing the challenge. It's an eye-opener, isn't it, Andy? It's an eye-opener.
Man. The reason I did it 3 times was not that I'm that slow of a learner, at least I don't think I am, maybe I am, but is the amount of value that they throw at you. I mean, each time I went through it, I learned different things. And so it was more, as I went through it, you go through anything, right? You read a book. When you reread it the second time, you usually get something different out of it. You've grown. So each time I went through it, there was different things I heard. I'm like, oh, now. And I know some of the stuff I heard before, but it's like, oh, now that makes sense. Like, oh my God, that really makes sense.
It's different levels, isn't it? It's the levels of comprehension and the thing, because there's a lot of information, and you definitely get more information by going through it more than once. I know lots of people that have. I just haven't had the time to go through it more than once because it's intensive. But
I paused it last time. Because I was like, I need to actually execute on some of the stuff I'm learning versus get your phases, like absorb. Now I need to execute, and then I'm going to absorb, like breathing. You know?
Very good analogy.
Breathe out.
Now Paul has actually made a comment here. I offer a 10% off coupon. My feeling there is that that's not really giving something away. It's all about building the list, isn't it? And in order to build the list with opt-ins, you need to give something away, not get them to have a 10% coupon. So what are your thoughts, Andy?
Well, I think that ties into like what you brought up a second ago was the offer stack. And an offer stack, this is what can you build around what it is that you're offering? Because right now, if I just sell you a phone, right? There's nothing. Sharon can sell a phone, and now we're competing on price, right? Like there's nothing special about it. But if I go, hey, my phone has all these apps on there that are actually, when used to any business, I've proven that they'll make your business $10,000 a month because I've done it 10 times to 10 different industries. So I know it works no matter what. And it comes with this that you can't even get on the Android store. My phone's a little more valuable now.
Yeah.
Versus someone else. So you got to think, what is it that you can throw on that gets you out of the commodity space? And that's what, when an offer stack is, it's eliminating you competing in a commodity. Because if someone else has the exact same thing or very, very similar, what's the things you can put on top or around it that makes it uniquely yours? And so real quickly, what can you do that's written, right? That's one of them. What can you do that's a video? What can you do that's an audio? What can you do that's physical? Some sort of tangible? Can you give them, I mean, what's some sort of tangible thing that you can do? And then, some sort of miscellaneous, it could be like, this might tie into some things, but maybe you found some sort of interviews that are hard to find or things like that. But what are some things you can put around that makes yours it's actually an offer. Now you have an offer. This is a product, but when I build stuff around it, that's an offer stack.
Yeah.
So, I don't know if you said, was it Paul that asked that question? Was that, I'm not getting the comment.
I was just asking because we got onto the subject of a 10% off coupon, and I think we've both mentioned that you really need to be trading something for that email in order to build the list, and it needs to be more than a coupon. And that just led me to ask you about the offer stack, because that's something that is featured quite heavily on the One Funnel Away challenge. So I was just asking your opinion on that.
Example. Here's a fun one. Here's a fun one. Maybe I don't know what you're selling, but maybe whatever you're selling, is there something else you sell that would be the same price as a 10% off coupon that you could then give away with the other thing, but then tell them, and then you get a 10% coupon for next time. So it's like you're encouraging a repeat and you're giving them something. I don't know what your niche, but that's just off the top of my head.
Yeah, that makes more sense to me, and I think there's definitely a place for coupons, but I think that Paul needs to think about a different type of offer that is something that is really free, trading for the email. So now, who else have I got here? I'll just read some of these comments. I have them all over the place, some on screen, some on phone. Giselle,
I'm my phone.
Can you see some too?
Not like you can. I'm not like level 7 Sharon, I guess.
So yes, Giselle says hi. So hi, Giselle. Ria Anglesey has mentioned the Briscoe's sales are very much like Godfrey's, which was the vacuum cleaner company that we were talking about. I don't know if you have Briscoe's over there. You probably don't. It might be a New Zealand thing, but the thing about Briscoe's is their prices are so expensive all year round that you wouldn't buy there unless they have a sale. So you only buy when there's a sale, which to me is not really what it's all about either. So I think that's a really good comment, Ria. Thank you for that. Fiona Sikat has, I hope I've pronounced her surname correctly, has said, in Aweber, you can check the subscribers who confirm their subscription. And it's one way to know they are real. That's absolutely right, Fiona. And I think that's what Andy was saying, was that rather than going through ClickFunnels and just automatically giving something that can be downloaded there and then on the click of a button, it's better that it goes through an email system, because then it goes to an actual real life email address. And
you won't get it.
Both people get a fair trade. So that's a good point there. Thank you, Fiona. Barry Davis says hi.
What's up, Barry?
Jeff Sheffert again, hopefully I've pronounced that correctly. How many funnels do you have, Andy?
That's a loose term. I have cloned a lot of funnels. I had a Funnel U membership for a good part of a year, and got a lot of I'm like, oh, that's cool. And I just copied it. Funnels that I use right now, I've only got like 2 or 3 that I'm actually using, but I've probably had like 90 that are just sitting there as templates, inspiration. You look at things and go, okay, just I'm kind of one of those. I'm not a build everything from scratch. I kind of look at almost like in WordPress, with WordPress, you have themes.
Yeah.
I look for things that have some sort of inspiration towards where I'm going. And then I'm able to like use that theme. I like to talk about like a car is, your WordPress is almost like the engine of the car, right? It's running it. But
yes.
The theme is the design of the actual car. Like what's the fenders, the hood, what type of upholstery. And so you're picking like the colors, the font and things like that. So I have a lot that are just sitting as, they're dead as far as traffic wise or anything going, that they're just kind of for inspiration. I get ideas and then I will clone those pieces. Cause sometimes it's not a whole funnel sequence. I'm like, I don't like the whole thing. I'm like, oh, I really like this one page. And so I'll pull that to kind of create my own thing.
Yeah. And that's something they talk about a lot with ClickFunnels and the One Funnel Away challenge is funnel hacking.
Yeah.
And some people misunderstand that to think that means funnel stealing. But what they're saying is that you're using that as the basis. Look for something that's working and then modify it for your needs, but don't rip it off. It has to be your content and your words, but you can base your funnel on that. But that's the difference between the two. And you're quite right with funnels. There might be one section that suits you from one funnel and another from another. And so I'm with you on that one. We have a response here from Paul, who thought that it was a good idea trading something free for your email. And I think he thought that your suggestion with the phone and the information was good. He sells phone cases, funnily enough.
Okay.
So, very applicable. I don't know if you need to load some information on there.
There's probably a glass cleaner for your phone. You probably need a charger for your phone. You need a car mount for your phone. You need a little handle thing to like. I bought this case. I need a little handle thing to slip my hand in because then I don't drop it everywhere. There's a ton of things. And here's what's funny, Paul. I'm sorry. Who is it that sells phone cases? I don't see the comments like you.
Paul Doust.
I'm sorry.
Paul Doust. Hopefully, I have pronounced that correctly, Paul.
What's funny is I went to buy. I have a work and personal. The gift of 2 phones, right? That's double the work. But anyway, I went to go buy a phone.
My worst nightmare: 2 phones.
It's a gift and a curse. And one's Apple, one's Android. I've had to learn both. It's been. I'm an Android by heart, though. For all you Androids out there. I went to go buy my phone. I bought 2, one for me and one for my wife, because essentially if I get one, she gets one. I mean, we're a team, and if we upgrade, we like to use the same phones because then we learn them together. It's kind of a fun thing. But they didn't sell me nothing. Like I literally bought them, and then I was like, "So do you have cases over?" And I
know. Apple's terrible. Everything is extra. Everything. Only Apple can get away with that. Yeah. It's all about minimalism, isn't it? Everything's minimalistic. Because I've got an Apple Mac, and oh my goodness, just you buy your Apple Mac, and then you have to buy what they call, it's an unfortunate term, but a dongle that you have to buy, and a hub. And it's all got to be plugged in, and then you've got all these wires. But yes, the laptop is minimalistic. It's just you have to then buy everything to plug in. Right. So good old Apple.
But just with phone cases, I mean, there's a ton of things you can put around that. I mean, I popped off a few earlier. I'm just trying to think what else would I do, or would it fit into there, or like, hey, maybe you have some sort of phone case of the month club. Like people have like a coffee club where you like, your gas stations have like every 6 cups you get one free. Maybe you have some sort of like, hey, buy 5, you get 1 free, depending what your margins are. There's tons of different things.
You could even see if there's some affiliate links to some app you could load onto
get a free phone case, but bring a friend. It's really a BOGO. If they buy one at full, you get one free. It's 50% off, but it's like refer a friend, you know.
The options are endless, and the best thing to do, Paul, is probably have a look at what your competitors are doing. In my last Facebook Live, I went through all the different ways that you can do your market research and figure out who your target market is and what it is that they want and what your competitors are offering and how you can set yourself apart from them. So, Paul, I've been having a look at that again and having a look at what your competitors are doing and see what you can do that is succeeding for them or what you can do better.
Right.
Answers those questions for you, Paul. So I think that's been really helpful. I might have a chat with you afterwards and see if I can get a bit of a summary going, or I'll write a summary to share with the viewers, because that especially for the minimum 5 email templates that you're talking about, because I think that'll be quite helpful to have. So thank you.
Yeah, and your email, my pleasure, is, you know, think about your email. There's a little bit of upfront work, but it's going to be automated and it's going to do it for you. So now you're leveraging your time, right? You're cloning your sales thank you or indoctrination cycle, and then it does the work for you. And real quick, I'll touch on, if someone actually purchases from you, you want to have something very similar as an opt-in, but now you have the buyer list where you want to welcome them. It's the same, almost the same thing. Welcome them for buying whatever they bought and thank them for their business, and then help them have success, whatever it is they bought, by sending them some sort of like, here's 3 tips out of this if you do these 2 things, or here's a good one, is you do like how to get your fast win. Here's the first thing you need to do with what you got. Like when these are for your buyers now. Someone's actually bought something from you. Depending what it is you have, what's the first thing that they need to do? You know, and giving them some sort of like the number one thing to get started, because the idea is you get them to start using your products and services. I also will send them some sort of like a background story as well, letting them know who you are, because I've got it set up. If my opt-in people become a buyer, they're taken off the opt-in list. Like they don't get sent anymore like, hey, I'm trying to get you to become a purchaser. And you can set that up in your email campaigns as well. As depending what platform you use, they may be tags, or they may have a, if they're on this list, they come off that list. It depends what platform you use. And all you gotta really do is contact their support and go, yo, if I get someone onto, how do I get someone who's bought something to go from one list to the other? And they will have ways to walk you through that process. But again, giving them some fast wins, some sort of like case study of results. They're very similar. You just word them slightly different.
Yeah.
Have some sort of onboarding sequence where you're helping them be successful with what they got, because now they're like, wow, I've got it and it's working, instead of I've got it and I'm lost. Like, I know I need it, but I don't know how to do it, or there's so much information, I'm overwhelmed, I don't start. So that's like, what's the one thing they need to do? And that would be, they're very similar, just slightly different, but always over deliver on value on helping them use, whether it's free or bought, how do they be successful with it? And those, I think in the beginning I said that those are your 2 lists. They all lead to one, which we call in the ClickFunnels world a Seinfeld list. Don't worry about this unless you've built these first, right? We talk about what's the first thing you need to do. First thing you do is an opt-in list. Like that's, or build the buyer and pull it out of there, but you need those first. Seinfeld is where you send them emails just talking about your day, or that's some sort of relevance that you don't want it to be. Like Seinfeld emails is, after they've gone through those lists, they all funnel into one. So whether they bought or they opted in, you're building an email list, because over time, that's going to make you money, because you'll come out with new things, new products, new services. You're going to have a list now available. But you can't like email them once every 6 months. They'll be like, who the, they may not even see it or they don't know who you are, versus a couple times a week, you just look at things that are relevant going on in your life and tell them, think 90% entertainment and only 10% content. Just let them know your brand, who you are, things going on, and maybe tie it into what it is you do, right? Just like one, and this was when I was going through one funnel away challenge. An example, my cat was actually making an offer with me, and how I really, because I'm sitting there studying, right? I'm watching the courses and doing the stuff. And my cat's like jumping up on the table, walking all around me. If y'all have cats, you know what I'm talking about. They want to rub against your computer screen, and
Yes.
you're just like, oh my
It's on
goodness.
the keyboard.
Like, I love you, but right now, Dad is focusing. But what it is she was making a sales with me, because the moment I went and fed her, she left me alone. So it was like she was having a transaction, right? So it was like this. But, and so I could talk about, man, have you ever been studying? Have you ever been trying to think and your freaking animal gets in your way and I'm trying to learn the stuff? Have you ever been there? Because I know I have. Last night I was doing this course and it was so crazy. But then I learned that my cat is actually more like me than I realized. And she was having a sales conversation and made an offer. And that offer was, I'll leave you alone if you will feed me, if you'll trade with me, right? If you'll give me the food, I'll give you space. and, so I opted into her offer and gave her the food and space. And that's when it hit me that some people don't know about offers. And right now I have this special on my offer program. If you act now, I normally sell it at this, but for right now it's going to be at that. And so I just thought I would share that with you about how my cat is actually learning more about me. That example email, it was talking about the cat bugging you, and people start to relate with you because someone goes, I have a cat. They do that to me all the time. Or whatever your stories are in life, that's what makes you special. That's what makes you stand out from everyone else. So learning to share those in those Seinfelds where you're just sending just a couple, you can do them daily or a couple a week, just letting them, you're staying on their radar. Because again, it takes up to 7 impressions to even make a purchase. That's on average. Some could take 12, 15. But if you're sending them a couple emails here and there, maybe 3 weeks later, they go, man, I like this person. And I relate to them so much. And I know I've been looking at it. I'm going to do it.
Exactly. And as you said earlier, this is all part of playing the long game. It's about building that rapport and that relationship and that trust. And the Seinfeld sequence is definitely a good way of doing it. Is there anywhere that the viewers can go for inspiration for Seinfeld sequences you're aware of?
For inspiration, I'm sorry?
On Seinfeld sequences.
Well, I mean, if you haven't gotten one of these 2 books, those will give you inspiration. I know .com Secrets has a whole chapter that talks about it, but inspiration, really, if you think about the name of it, Seinfeld is a show about nothing. There was no like underlying journey. You watch shows now and it's like there's a long story intertwined between every single episode, right? And you can almost think, tying that into your email marketing, think of it like loops. Is you ever notice like when a show goes to commercial, it always leaves like on a dramatic moment. Like, they're like, my wife loves CSI, right? And it's always like right before they're about to kick in the door and maybe you're like rush in, it'll go to commercial break. And so what that is it's hooking you to stay, right? Or you're watching one and some like big explosion happens at the end and then it's like to be continued. You're like, oh man. And so when you're writing your emails, you almost want to, you're closing one loop, but then you leave like, oh, and tomorrow I'm going to send you this really cool bonus, and your bonus might be some sort of free thing that you've already assumed to give away. Like if someone buys something, you may have put the price for something in that you're going to give to them, but now you're like, hey, here's this cool bonus, and I'm gonna give it to you for free. Or hey, tomorrow I'm going to tell you the backstory of how I went from X to Y. So they're like, oh wow, I really want to hear about that, or how. That like if you have a case study, I'm going to give you and be on the lookout because tomorrow I'm sending you this story about Susan who was in this situation, but in this much time turned it all around. Can't wait for you to see how. And they're like, well, how? How did you?
That makes them want to tune in next time. Yeah, right. Very smart.
So just think, memory jogging, just anything going on in life. Is something your kids have done? Is there anything going around the holidays? Are you planning a vacation? Anything interesting going on at work? Did something like really make you upset, but now you're laughing about it? Just start to like almost look at what's going on around you. Step back a little bit, kind of like the cat story, and start looking at things. Go, wait a second, that makes sense. As I've learned about sales, a few years ago, I wouldn't have thought twice about when I bought my phone, the guy didn't sell me anything. Now when I'm in somewhere and I buy the phone and they literally they rang me up, I bought the phone and then I said, like I paid and I was like, do y'all have like cases and stuff that I can look at? Like I had to go make another transaction. Like they were not guiding me. Right. Mm-hmm. But you start talking about that, and that could be a story where, hey, have you ever been in a situation where you went to go purchase something and then you realized later on that you walked out and didn't get the thing you wanted? Like, I'll tell you mine, freaking pizza. I always forget to ask for ranch. I always forget to ask for ranch. It happens. And not that I eat a ton of pizza, but when I do, it's here's what it is. I don't eat it a lot, but when I do, I know I want ranch, and I always forget to ask because it's like every so often.
Yeah.
They can sell me every freaking time. And so, you know what? I'll probably write an email about that. The next time I get pizza, I'll be like, I need to write an email. But if you're making this mistake in your business, here's why you shouldn't, because I would make that purchase every time. And right now, I'm actually going to go through an offer kit and teach you how to do better offers to make sure you know you aren't the victim of missing revenue like this company was. And so start to just look around and go, how can I tie this into what it is I do? Be creative, be fun, and just share and be a little vulnerable. It will pay off because people will connect with you. Your vulnerabilities is what makes you identifiable to people. You know, like what.
And I think it's really good advice, and something that is worth repeating, that it's not about presenting yourself as being perfect. The more human you are, the more relatable you are. And that in itself builds trust. So that's why revealing aspects of your own life helps the customers or the prospects relate to you. So absolutely.
Amen. What is it? Like Superman, would he be really cool if he didn't have like kryptonite and Lois Lane and his family that get used against him? Like if he was just nothing could ever hurt him, he had no ties to anybody, what would the story be? Like Superman came in and like killed the guy, or I mean, but
a little bit one-dimensional, wouldn't it?
Yeah, it wouldn't be as interesting. He might like, oh, those are cool graphics, but the fact, like, because he has those vulnerabilities, and kryptonite is like that's his weakness, but his family and relationships and his moral code and ethics is also his vulnerabilities, because they get used against him.
Absolutely. And there's always, and you referred earlier to the Epiphany Bridge script, which is it's a way of relating to people. It's a way of putting the personal into whatever it is that you're selling in a way that encourages people to relate to you as a person, as a unique individual. And part of that Epiphany Bridge script is all about having that conflict as part of the story. So it's not just, I made $1 million overnight, amen. It's, this is how I started off. If you listen to Tony Robbins, he told you how he was a janitor and working all these hours and doing mundane jobs, but that gave him the opportunity to then connect with somebody and learn from them. And then you go to the next stage of the experience, and then there'll be another conflict and another fall and then another climb back up. So it's all about that. It's a multi-level script, and it's all, people relate to that. They don't want to hear about someone that just made money overnight. They want to hear about the struggles and how those struggles were overcome and the learning that's involved.
Well, yeah, because that's I mean, like you said, I mean, that's where people connect with you, because they can identify that. Me being working as a sushi chef and a hibachi chef, I can identify with anyone in restaurants. It doesn't matter what role they're in. I can identify, especially I started as a kitchen help. When I was a manager, I said I was a glorified spot filler, because you just do whatever needs to be done. And so like that world, I can connect with anyone in that world. Right. But someone who is maybe in insurance or something like that, I don't know a lot about it. I know that I need it. And and usually something bad has to happen for me to get the value. But it's important. You need it. I'm not knocking it, but I can't connect with that as well as others. Where someone who's been in that and grown and has an agency or in real estate. So like the things that you've done that are in your background, whether you do that job or not, you can connect with people on that. Or the challenges and I'm adopted. I can connect with people that have been adopted. I mean, there's tons of little things, highs and lows, that most people try to hide and shelter, but really the more transparent you are, that's when you relate with people. And that I mean,
yeah, I agree with that. Paul has made another comment. We're going back to phones. Oh, here we go. You know, when I switched phone services, they didn't really offer me anything either other than a lower phone bill. So again, point, not upselling. Yeah, if there's an opportunity to upsell, and I guess a nicer word than upsell is to add value to your purchase, then why wouldn't you? I guess
my cell phone company,
I guess some companies, they get too big. The people are working for minimum wage and they're not commission based. I can see that can happen. It doesn't matter to them. They're just doing their job. But that tells you that there's something wrong in the structure of the company and the way it's working. If that's what's happening.
With cell phones, I literally got upsold today. I'm not going to promote or name drop a company, but what the people I buy my cell phone service through, they sent me an email marketing. Okay. And granted, this email was 5 days old. And honestly, when I read what it was about, I was like, oh God, I hope I didn't miss the window. Because it's hard to keep up with. There's certain email accounts I check daily, and there's others that I'm like once a week, Yeah. I don't have all my emails going to one for my own personal reasons, but I saw it and it was like double your data for $15 more a month. And usually about every 2 to 3 months, I have to pay to get more gigs. I'll use it up because I don't have a limited plan.
Good deal.
And so I was like, do it. I mean, so, now I've committed because of email marketing and upselling, and they've delivered value. They, for all I know, they probably have an algorithm that knows every 3 months I buy it. And so they're like, well, what if we just give him a little more data and now he'll pay us monthly? Yeah, I'm not there. I'm sure they probably have an algorithm that knows who's the semi data buyers. And they're like,
I'm sure they do.
And I mean, I happily made that purchase. Like,
that's a really good case in point. Absolutely.
It was this morning. I mean, and here I was thinking I missed it because I'm like, oh crap, that's a value. I want this. I hope because
it's so hard though, because we are bombarded nowadays because everyone's doing the same thing and you get so many email sequences. And for me, I know that if I'm signing up for something I want, I really have to think hard because I know what's coming. And like you, I have separate email accounts for things like that, so I can have a look at their email marketing scripts because you can learn from them.
Inspiration. I'll tell you, I don't know if y'all know Grant Cardone. If you want to get inundated with email marketing and offer values, subscribe to Grant Cardone stuff.
Is this positive? Is this a positive experience from the learning that you get?
He's like a sales. I mean, if you want to learn about sales, he's got a ton of great books. I have multiple of his books. I listen to a lot of his audio. His stuff is really focused on sales. But email marketing, I get at least 1 to 3 emails a day from him.
You see, that would drive me a little bit nuts, and I would be unsubscribing.
Yeah, and honestly, part of me wants to, but some of the headlines, like the subject lines, they make me want to open it. And so I'm like, I want to. It's funny because I'm in the space. So there's a part of me that goes, man, I'm getting more than I'll ever look at. But part of me is like, God, it keeps working because I just want to click and open it. And it's like, I know he's selling me or presenting an offer, but I mean, you can that's a great way of just, if you just want to get some example base, opt into his newsletter list and they're going to start hammering you.
Well, if that's, so that's all sales-based stuff.
Yeah.
I was actually going to say to you that for me, the biggest struggle is those headlines, and those are the most crucial parts of your email sequence are those headlines, because if the headline doesn't grab them, then it's just not going to get open. So for that alone, it might be worth signing up, and I'll send it to one. I actually have an email, everything else. It's the name of the email, everything else. So
I'm going to copy on that.
Obviously not the first one to have thought about doing that. So Grant Cardone.
Grant Cardone. Like think like Grant, and then like think Cardone, but combine it, Cardone. He's got, I mean, if you're into sales, any business I think can benefit from, he's got some great audiobooks. I drive a lot for work, so I listen to audiobooks while driving or just written books, but he sells courses on sales, does books on sales, swag on sales, events, like live events with like 30,000 people go to.
Yeah.
But his backstory, we talk about backstories, right? He was used to be a drug addict. Okay. Father died when he was an adolescent. nearly beat to death, was a used car salesman, and then finally got his act together. And now he has this like multi-million-dollar, empire that helps people do sales, because that's where he just started to take things a little seriously. And he started listening to personal development and things like that. But he has a backstory, right? Vulnerable. I'm not just flying in jets and Lambos. I mean, like, here's all the stuff I've been through over the last 20, 30 years of my life.
Yeah. And that makes him more relatable.
Yeah.
He hasn't had it easy. He's worked his way up, and if he can do it, then anyone else can do it. And that's the thing. Same with Tony Robbins. Although I did see, I can't remember where I read it, but in one of the groups, someone was saying, are there a lot of false homeless stories being put out there?
I would hope not.
Apparently so.
I would hope not, but
you hope not.
That ties to your ethical brand and standards.
Exactly.
I mean,
be honest, because everybody's got a backstory. Everybody's got their own unique experiences that make them relatable. Absolutely.
Yeah. I made myself homeless so I could talk about being homeless.
Well, I remember on the One Funnel Away challenge, Lady Boss, and one of her favorite things was to show you the mattress she slept on.
Yeah, I don't know her background, but
do you remember that one?
I do remember that. Yeah, with her and her, because they were in, I believe MLM, so they did multi-level marketing and invested all their money, and they did I think it's the product launch funnel, where it's like a 4-part series, and they kind of put it all in there, made bets, but they followed a system, and they've got a, but they talk about their story of it's all going to go right or go wrong, and here's our conditions, and now they have a very successful empire.
They do, yeah. They've done
I don't know how much because it's never revealed, but I'm sure it's doing great.
Anything else you want to share with us, Andy, before we close?
Fiona, I see, asking Grant Cardone, did I get it right? Yes, that guy has a lot. He does have like YouTube and things like that, but I would really suggest, if you want what I consider the gold, getting an audiobook or a book. If you're wanting to learn about sales, that's definitely, I've learned tons of things from that. Anything else? I mean, talked about email marketing. Does anyone else have any like last questions? Maybe that
I actually don't see Fiona's question.
Oh,
so I don't know where. I don't know whether we have more. The last thing I see is from Paul.
Okay.
So I'm not sure where Fiona's message has popped up from. Apologies if anyone else has asked questions that I'm not seeing.
Yeah, I'm checking
Andy.
Yeah. I mean, I think we touched a lot on it. If you guys have questions, comment on the video below, and I'll try to answer them as best I can. Because some of y'all may not be able to catch this. Here's the fun thing of technology, right? New Zealand, Oklahoma, right?
Tuesday here.
Tuesday at like probably 2, and it is 9 o'clock at night in Oklahoma on Monday.
Yes. Crazy world.
But hey, that's the beauty of technology. And with email lists, you can reach anyone anywhere. So depending what it is you sell, if it's not a physical thing, you don't have to ship. There's ways of delivering value around the world. I mean, it's amazing. So I see Jeff asking, what software are we watching on? And webinar software. I don't know if you want to explain that one.
Yeah, I'm just wondering where all the comments are that I don't see. Oh, have we got? No, yeah, I don't see them. So apologies if there's any more, because I think Andy sees some of what's
They're probably
here.
dividing us. No.
Dividing.
You get a question, I get a question.
So it's not too much to handle.
Right.
Yes. So what was the question? Sorry.
He was asking what software are we? It says watching. I think he wants to know how it is that we're doing this. What's or webinar software?
It's been a little bit of a journey, and both Andy and I have explored a lot of different avenues. We've looked at Zoom, which does do most things you want, but has a hefty price tag. So we've actually gone for what's it called? StreamYard, which enables you to stream on multiple platforms at the same time, which is awesome. The only thing is it is not perfect if we're not seeing all the questions, because we obviously want to be able to answer the questions.
Yeah, I think we're using StreamYard to restream. We're pulling.
That's right. So we're using StreamYard as the primary streaming software, and then it's plugged into Restream, which then restreams everything to a host of other channels, 30 plus platforms if you want. So that works well, definitely.
I'm not on 30 yet. I think I did like 4 or 5. But
yeah, me too. But what I really like is that I can stream to Facebook group, to my Facebook group, to my profile, and to pages as well, all at the same time, plus YouTube. Just need to find out how we can.
And you could probably share a link to that if people don't want to Google search it later after the video. You can probably drop a link to share with them if y'all want to look at. So you're getting StreamYard, and it connects. And StreamYard will let you. You might correct me. We're both learning. I think it's the first time we went live together in this, but because we were playing with it yesterday. Is they have a free version or like a nominal amount per month that lets you go to groups and whatnot. But then we're connecting it to Restream, which then lets us like throw it. I mean, you can throw it anywhere. YouTube. I saw LinkedIn coming soon, and then in messages they talk about Instagram later. But
I know LinkedIn's coming soon, but I actually think I got onto that platform. It's only a very few people are being approved, and I got approved.
I need to
New Zealand. I have no idea, but exciting.
Hey.
So yes,
#7. Yeah.
And then there are platforms that I don't even know of. I haven't even heard of that are coming up. If you're a mobile fan and streaming on mobile, there's Periscope, there's Twitch, there's YouTube. For me, the power is in the fact that I can stream to multiple Facebook channels and groups at the same time, because that was something. That was something for me. I wanted to give value to my group first and foremost for obvious reasons, but it's also nice to be able to stream to your profile and your page as well, so that other people know what's there and can then join the community. So that's pretty powerful, and I can see those messages now. I'm looking down at the bottom of the stream, but I have to scroll up, so the new ones come to the top, which kind of makes sense. So that's cool. So between phone and StreamYard, I can see hopefully all the messages. Not all pulled in the one place, but that's okay. So if you see us looking down, it's because we're checking our phones to see if there's any more messages.
You know our secret. Actually, if you watch people like live, because Zoom, they don't have even a chat feature. You have to pull it up in your phone to actually. I've been around different technology, but you have to have your phone up to see any comments if you're connecting to Facebook. It's
quite a skill to talk and look for comments in the various places and remember what you're saying, and it's a skill. And So but the technology is getting better and better. My understanding is that Facebook have made it difficult for you to see live chat on purpose. And they've also made, because the big frustration for me is on scheduling. I like to be able to schedule Facebook Lives, because then people can set reminders and they know it's coming. And that's not possible through StreamYard. So hence why in the group I've been writing posts with a bit of a countdown so that you know it's coming. But that's the only compromise I've had to make now that we've got this system set up with StreamYard and Restream. I'm pretty happy.
I'm loving it. I think it's great.
Very cool.
A few others, and pros and cons to each one has pros and cons. There's other ones out there, but I'm really liking the setup with how it flows.
Yeah, it's good. It's very good. There's also OBS, which is something broadcasting. It could be open source broadcasting software, maybe. So that one's completely free, but it's not user friendly. So you'll need to have a watch of a video, YouTube video, probably a number of times to figure out how to use it. I've used that a few times on my Facebook Live.
If you saw me yesterday, and I went live like 5 times trying to get it to work with Restream. Now, granted, I'm not knocking OBS. I was trying to get 2 things to work, and I was not being successful at it.
But I tell you that the expressions on your face were just brilliant to watch. You see the concentration and so that was great.
Yeah, but
and
that's the fun of it.
And that's the thing about this software, is the only way to test it is live. And
yeah. And I almost, and to tie this in where we talked about being vulnerable, right? I thought about trying to test it in a private group that I just have no one in. Like I make a fake group and test it. But I was like, no, just go live. This is me and my journey. I'm going to share it, right? And so just being that vulnerable, because you could make a fake group that no one's a part of and hide it. But I'm like, no, just play with it. Let people know you're doing stuff. I mean, that's even if it doesn't work.
It's all good. I understood. I could I could see the narration that should have gone with the expressions, because I know
freezing. It was like
no freezing, actually. No freezing. Really? Just a lot of concentration.
What was it? Another fun one was or talking about email marketing. So see, I could write a short email, Seinfeld email, right? About, have you ever tried to use something and it just blew up in your face? Because the other day I was trying to go live and here I am on the public stage and I looked more serious. I probably stuck my tongue out concentrating and it just didn't work. It was driving me bonkers and But then I finally figured out how to make that work. It made me think, you took action on this one thing. Here's the 3 things to make sure it works for you, because I don't want you to go through what I went through. Because it was funny and embarrassing, but I survived.
Yeah, exactly.
So, I mean, you just...
And then, and there's the opportunity to share affiliate links as well. So,
right.
If someone's going to recommend something that adds value, then you should reward them with an affiliate link, I think.
Recommend what you use. I mean, that's usually my sense. I don't say, it's awesome, I've never used it, but I heard it's great. I mean, I try to recommend what I use, or if it's something like email marketing, I don't have an account with every single email marketing. I have the one I use, but I know it works. So I may share various email marketing because I am using it. But I'm a big proponent that, if you're going to, don't tell someone about a movie you're not going to go see, right?
Exactly. And that damages your brand and your credibility. I'm exactly the same. I'll only recommend things I believe in, things that I've found have added value. Otherwise, yes, I'm not one of those people that wants to blast out a whole gazillion different affiliate marketing links just to try and bring in revenue. Because that might work in the short term, but in the long term, that just damages your credibility for who you are and who's going to then trust what you say and what you recommend. So,
are you really recommending? Or are you just trying to tell me?
Exactly.
Does this resonate with the niche I'm in?
And it's a bit of a side step, because we have been focusing on funnels quite a lot. And just so that you know, a website and a funnel are great partners. It doesn't have to be either or. You really do need both. They have their different functions, definitely. Yeah. But with your website is where you can really show your brand and what you're about. So that is an important component too. Your funnels are more... It's a complicated thing, because a funnel to a marketer who's outside of ClickFunnels is the whole ecosystem. It's the pyramid. Whereas a funnel for ClickFunnels is a splash page, a landing page. It's a single page that has the funnel component that takes you from here down to whatever your objective is that you want them to execute, whether it's to buy this or give you their email address or whatever it happens to be. So they are very different beasts, but it's all about...
It's funny.
If you don't have a brand, then you're just going to rank with all the other affiliate marketers that are just nameless, brightly colored, capital lettered, underlined
strobing light
pages of information overload that's got no soul. So for me, that's really important.
Well, and when you were talking about websites and funnels, I've had my funnel reviewed by a pretty successful person at it in one of the groups. And, coming from website, I started off in WordPress and website design and learned about funnels later, and designing a funnel looked really great. But he said something to me, it was like, I don't care where you're at in your journey, you get those like, like it just, that resonated. He was like, it looks really great, but he was talking about a certain part of it. And he's like, it looks really great, but here's what I would do. And he talked about moving it. And he's like, and I know what you're thinking. that doesn't look right. But he's like, you're building a funnel for conversions, not a website. You know, because they play different roles. But we said, like,
and it's different psychology as well.
Yeah, no, and I of course changed I did everything he said to do, but you know, when he said that, I was like, oh man, you know, it just gold nugget, you know, they're building a funnel.
Yeah. Yeah, I have a friend who had her funnel audited on one of the live funnel auditing groups, and the feedback was, pardon?
It might have been the same guy then.
It sounds like it probably was a doctor.
Well,
a funnel doctor, maybe.
I know the funnel doc. He's I mean, he's a pro. I would love a review by him any day.
Yep. But what he said was that this person's funnel looked pretty. It looked very pretty, but these are the things that needed to change because there's so much psychology behind it. That's crucial. Yeah.
Totally. I mean, I was trying to think, because how could you apply a funnel to a website, and maybe if they have just a sales page, maybe like an LTO or not. No, I'm doing technobabble, limited time offer. LTO. Let me back up before that. You're still making your offer. This is something that worked for me. It was a product I'd seen because I'm going to buy. Actually, it was in one of these boxes. When I bought one of these boxes, I've got an upsell, but it's a product I've seen that presented to me in other things because he presents his products. You know, no matter what you buy, these are all coming from the same company. You know, you get presented different things. Whatever company you have, just because they're buying this doesn't mean they don't want to see the other things. But one of the ways it was presented was it was like buy now for $300, and I wasn't prepared to spend $300, right?
Yeah. And
so whether you're using a funnel or a website, maybe you have another option for this product on maybe a not so publicized page, right? And instead it goes, how about 3 payments at $97? And I was like, I can do that.
Yeah.
And I was like, and of course in my mind, because as you learn and you know these things, talking like the phone cases, I knew I was being sold. Like because you start to understand, but I'm like, God, I want it, and they know it. They got me. Like, you know, when you know what's happening, but you're like, I'm doing it.
But they got you anyway.
And I was able to do that. So it wasn't like sometimes whatever you're doing with your business in sales, it's not necessarily no, they don't want it. It might not be in a structure that they can do it right then. And so like, let's do it, man.
It's all about hook, story, offer. And that offer has got to grab people, and it's going to be packaged in the right way. So absolutely.
And it was even
$7 a month for 3 payments is a lot more palatable than $300.
And technically it was a little cheaper, right? 97 times 3 wasn't, I think, $296. It was a few dollars cheaper, but I'm like, still. I mean, but
and the magic 7.
I know, you always end in 7s, right?
Always have a 7 in your price. So I have a few more comments here before we go from Jeff Shefford. Great, thanks. Pricing is reasonable. We're talking about StreamYard here. It really is. Compared to the other outfits out there, it's really
you'll pay close to double on the others. But again, all have pros and cons, but I'm very happy with what StreamYard is doing.
Yeah, it ticks apart from the scheduling, which I can overcome. It ticks all the boxes for me, so I'm pretty happy. And it also means that now, because this is something I was struggling with, was that I want to be able to audit people's websites, and I couldn't do it. I have spent many days looking at all the different options because you need to be able to screen share, obviously, and with this software you can screen share as well, so that's really helpful. So Jeff has said, thanks guys, much appreciated. You are most welcome. And one last question, what do you use for receiving payments? I've heard horror stories using Stripe. Well, I use Stripe. I don't know why you've heard horror stories about it, Jeff. I'd be really interested if you want to share that with us. One thing I always say is avoid PayPal as a merchant. If you can buy something using PayPal, do, because it's almost like money back guarantee. If you're not happy and you give some spurious reason, they'll give you your money back, which is great as a buyer. But if you're a merchant, then PayPal is not great. If you've just delivered some wonderful course and you've accepted the money through PayPal and someone says, oh, I didn't like the course, they're going to get their money back and you end up with nothing. So my advice is avoid PayPal for those reasons as a merchant. Stripe can be a bit tricky for setting up recurring payments, I find. especially with WordPress. It's doable. It's just it can be a bit of a headache. And I'm going to be chatting with Joshua Jarvis from our community tomorrow. Actually, we're going to have a chat. He's going to join us for a Facebook Live as well and share his wisdom. So I've been talking with him in the group about Stripe because I'm very interested to hear what his solutions are. So but that's my 10 cents. What about you, Andy? What are your experiences?
I'm on Stripe. I haven't had problems. The things that I've heard is if you get a lot of people to ask for their money back, Stripe can shut you down. I've heard that they have certain thresholds.
Yeah.
I don't know what that is. If X% in this time, I'm not sure. I've heard that that's where they can quote shut you down. But then I've also heard you can always start a brand new Stripe account. So I would, in my mind's eye, you could always have one just sitting there waiting to be used, knowing that if not saying that you're going to get shut down, but I'm just like, you could. If you
then I guess that begs the question, why, if you have a whole stream of people wanting their money back, what is that saying about what you're delivering? So
that's where I was going to go with that is the problem probably isn't the merchant provider. It's probably something in, are you not explaining it correctly? Do they not understand what they're getting? Or is it just not what it's supposed to be? I mean, you nailed it. Is you're getting a lot of people ask for you're going to have people ask for money back, but if it's a higher percentage, that's a clue that there's something else going on.
Absolutely.
I've used PayPal as well in the past. If there's there's lots of different providers out there. I've used Authorize.net in the past. You start learning about like your payment merchant gateways and payment provide, like all this fun techno. Because when I learned that, I was like, oh my God, what is all this? Like, it's not hard. It's just new, anything new.
Yeah.
But I mean, most people, I think, is you're looking for percentages, but you can just assume you're going to spend 3% on your transaction fees. I mean, it's just you can shop around. If you're making a lot of money, that might 0.5% something, but Stripe is where I'm at right now.
Yeah, me too. I think if you have a store, say, and you've got large volumes of sales, then you might want to talk to your bank and see what they can offer, because once the volumes go up to a certain level, the percentage comes down, and at that point it might well be worth looking at an integration through a bank in your country. But you do also need to look at the overseas transactions too, because that's something I've explored, and they've been very similar, to be honest. Stripe came out a little bit cheaper with the volumes that I'm processing, so I will be sticking with Stripe for now.
I've heard one person talked about using ACH forms because getting burned by doing, I guess, a bigger project, but they're like, that's just how I do business now. I mean, you as the business can make that decision, but my mind's eye is the easier you make it for people to do business with you, the more business you're apt to get. I mean, and if your brand's right, your integrity, you operate on those principles, it shouldn't be a problem, whatever platform you use.
I have some, what we got here? Jeff has just heard of true bad informational product. Yes, correct. Yes, exactly. He agrees. So I think the conclusion there is Stripe's probably the best way to go. Yeah.
Free to start, pretty, we won't say easy, simple to set up, right? Easy and simple aren't the same.
No.
You think they are, they're really not. But
with WordPress, I should add that there is a free Stripe Stripe payment gateway plugin that you can use. That's pretty simple, and you also have recurring payments that you can set up, but you need to do that from the Stripe side of things on their website. So that's all doable. Yeah, it's all doable.
And they have you as an expert as well. If they have questions, they can.
Well, I'm always happy to answer. And what's been really lovely with the group is I'm seeing that it's starting to be self-supporting as well. So people are supporting one another, which gives me the warm fuzzies. Yeah.
Fantastic. A community.
Remember, whether you know it or not, even if you're really new to internet marketing, to websites, to any of it, to the online world, you all bring your own unique experiences, and with that comes insight and contributions that only you can provide. So I encourage everyone in the group to contribute regularly, not just to ask questions, but to support others as well. Andy, it's been wonderful having you talk with us. It's been really insightful. Any last words that you may have?
Let's see. Can I do a shameless plug?
You know, I was about to say, do a plug. I think you've added enough value that we can.
Okay. Have I earned the right? It's not just you have control. Click the button. I'm gone. Like, it'd be cool if like smoke popped up. You know, like a ninja button.
You're gonna eject out your seat.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, if y'all are wanting to learn about just funnels, strictly funnels, funnelgrowthclub.com has a free, online business launch kit around funnels. And then obviously you guys have learned me talk about my techniques. There is the thank you page with some value there. But if you're just wanting to learn about funnels and things like that, funnelgrowthclub.com. I'd love to have you there. And then you can even see my email sequences. And here's what's fun. I put my real freaking email in there. It's not another email. So if you respond, you're going to hit my inbox. Okay. Awesome. There will become a threshold where I'll probably have to change that, but it's really about, we talk about building a brand, building authority. That I was like, I'm just going to do it. Right. What's going to make me different? So, I mean, it is my email that's coming out to you guys and you can get some great ideas.
Away from that is getting quick while you can, because you'll get Andy, your personal responses from Andy, because once Andy gets really busy and big, then that's not going to be there. So getting quick, take advantage while you can.
Thank you. It's funny, I was listening to someone, they talked about doing that, and I was like, I'm gonna do it. Why not? Because you can always turn it off. So it's like anything, try it.
Pretty awesome. It's all about that authenticity and that integrity, and very cool. And I think we have all, we've all had some really good value from what you've shared with us today. And I'm sure that everybody will want to come and check out your Facebook group and learn some more.
Awesome. Thank you so much for having me. It's been an honor and a pleasure. If you guys have questions, anything I can answer, I'll be looking at them later, whether you're watching a replay or something like that. Drop them in the comments below. You will get some value.
Awesome. Thank you, Andy.
Gotcha. Take care, guys. Have a good night and day.
See you guys.
Bye-bye.